Right, folks, welcome to episode 5. Interesting topic today.
Yep.
I think we're going to talk about Project Grayburn, which as an AR manufacturer in the UK in terms of Calibre Innovations, which Christian and I help run, there's a massive program to replace the SA80.
There is.
Was it 100?
I think it's about 100. Well, I stand to be corrected, but I think it was about a region of 180,000.
180,000 new weapon systems to be built for the British Army. So I think the Royal Marines and a few of the special factions, so we call them, have already had some new toys. But an interesting one there is that, you know, they've interestingly gone for an AR style platform, well, pretty much an AR-15, isn't it? You know,
it's timeless. It's proven. It's a proven platform. I mean,
and it's ergonomic.
It's intuitive.
It works, right?
You pick it up, you know how to use it. It's
So, and I think the bullpup had a bit of a bad rap, didn't it, to start with? I think the later models, they sorted that out.
Well, the A3 definitely sorted out a lot of the problems. It's quite funny because I think if you talk to people, they sort of slag it off quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then I've heard, like back in Afghanistan, when the Brits were going around with SA-80s, the Americans were kind of like, oh, can we have a look at those? Oh, let's have a go. And they were like, oh, this is quite a good gun because you've got a 16-inch barrel inside a fairly short platform.
Well, you shot at Caltech, right, at the World Shoot, and that's quite a pointy little rifle,
good,
right?
Pointy little, and it's manoeuvrable. You know, in a building, it's great because it's sort of, you ran your barricades at the World Shoot. You had to drop down low and sit, and it was still, it's like this long, so it was not an issue at all for me. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Project Grayburn's been, I think it's been knocking about a bit for a while actually, for several months, if not pretty over a year. 170,000, as we said, new weapon systems for the British Army. Some interesting news that sort of came out recently was around, and I think it's probably to do with like the geopolitics of what's going on across the world, and not to get into the detail of it, but basically they want more sovereign capability within the UK, which was really interesting in terms of what's happening in the broader scheme of things in the UK.
Well, we normally farm stuff out, so it's about time we make stuff in-house.
Well, I think we've got a pretty decent firearms manufacturing capability in the UK. But I think it's more geared to the larger stuff, isn't it? I think that's pretty much where we've excelled.
And BAE Systems, isn't it?
And those large organisations. So I think that, talking about BAE, I think there was in the news they were saying they're launching a new barrel manufacturing. I think it's large weapon barrels, etc. in Sheffield. So again, loads of investment, I think, in terms of that capability. But with that geopolitical stuff, it feels like it's coming home, right? That's let's
not forget the company that we all like to talk about down in Portsmouth that no one knows is there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, Accuracy International are getting punched well above their weight, don't they? So,
and they're only small. I say small. They are a relatively small manufacturer in the great scheme of things.
Well, very, very niche, but create some absolutely epic products, right? In terms of what they do. So, and I think trusted, right? That's the key thing in terms of.
Well, it's proven.
When you pull the trigger, it's going to do the right thing. So, so Project Grayburn. I think the interesting thing is that with the wider stuff happening in the firearms industry around, I guess, lead ban, right? In terms of what that impacts.
How it's going to impact everyone, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, from your point of view, like it's going to impact sport shooters. I get that, right? But
it will. But so for the 2.2s that we sell a lot of.
Did you hear the 2.2 thing? Though, so apparently 2.2's not. Yeah. Okay.
So what I was going to say it's going to come down to de-leading the ranges. Yeah. So that's where the money's going to have to be. Where you get to spending the money in the long run. Yeah. Because I stand to be corrected. It's every year or every X amount of time. The backstops have to be de-leaded. So. For example, at Headley Park now, we're kind of keeping a track of how many rounds you shoot, just so we know roughly how much lead's going to come out in a year's time.
Cash it in, mate. So. The way lead prices are going, right? We'll all be millionaires by the end of the year, Rodders. Right, but it's interesting. So I think lead ban has a massive impact, I think, and I guess what's your view on like what that means for the wider firearms industry in the UK,
I think it's going to hit some of the big boys, all the well-known like Purdy maybe, and Holland.
Well, interestingly, Purdy have just released their financial statements, haven't they, recently? Was it the biggest financial loss they've ever posted or something along those lines?
People not buying the guns in case the lead ban goes through, and they're going to be stuck with a, I don't know, I mean, you can get them still shot proofed, but...
Yeah, but I think there's going to be an impact on that, right, in terms of, you're spending a lot of money on a very nice firearm, don't get me wrong, potentially a pair or whatever, but yeah, so it's interesting, it's obviously hitting the big guys, and that's not good, right? And I guess where my head was going with that was, if you've got like the things like Project Grayburn and stuff like that, wanting to put more sovereignty into weapon systems, yet we're screwing the pooch on the other side of the coin, right?
None of it makes any sense.
And so it's an interesting dilemma, isn't it? Does the small guy, does the skills and all the rest of it leave the industry when you do that? And what does that mean? And anyway, I think Project Grayburn is going to be interesting to see how the MOD deal with that moving forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things pan out over the next few years. Whether the lead ban goes through or not. I mean, I guess over here the government seems to be fairly fixed.
It has to go through, doesn't it? I think it's law now.
Yeah, 28, 29?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But, I've heard some things through the grapevine about some of the ammunition manufacturers in Europe saying we are going to stick with producing lead because we can't afford to build another plant just to make ammo for civilians, whereas the military want lead. So it's sort of...
Well, it's kind of, I mean, the military are always going to want lead, right? Because they're never going to go to steel or well, when I say never say never, but the cost of moving that across to, I mean, I dread to think how many thousand rounds go down range just on practice, let alone stuff that happens in the real world. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, and yeah, who knows, right? But I think the key thing for me is I'm pleased that the MOD want to do more sovereign stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because it helps small, and I think from what I can make out, some of it's got to be done via small businesses. They try and encourage, they want to get small and medium-sized business involved as well. So whether we can, for us, hope we might be able to get in there with moderators. We'll see. But.
Who knows, right? But yeah, I think well, any UK procurement it has to involve SMEs, and I think it'd be really interesting to see how the firearms world outside of the big players, like the BAEs and the Kinetics and all the rest of it, how we can actually come together, because I think there's lots of capability, I think, in the UK in terms of stuff that people are doing, and I think it's how do we bring that to the forefront, how do we showcase the best of British business, and how do we move that on. So I think that with the geopolitical landscape, I think that, and it makes sense in terms of sovereignty. I think I'm kind of concerned that there's investment leaving the industry when we're trying to do that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this kind of pans out. But Project Grayburn, I think, is entering the next phase relatively soon, and it's going to be interesting to see how the big boys kind of come out of that. It's clearly going to be the likes of SIG and Beretta, UK Defence Technologies, or whatever they're called these days. You got H&K that are probably going to play the game. There's probably going to be some big guys, in terms of, I think it was Knights Armament, wasn't it, through Edgar Brothers that did the previous AR iteration with the MOD. So yeah, it's exciting times, right? But I think it'd be interesting to see, do they go for an AR platform or do they buck the trend and go with someone else? So
I think they'll go with an AR platform. Yeah, pretty much everyone else does now.
So we put a bet on now, right? We're going to be betting with each other, I think. So yeah, it's a bit of a mute bet, but but anyway, it'd be interesting to know. If anyone's got any other topics on that front, just feel free to drop a comment in there, and we'll do some investigation. But I think it's going to be interesting.
Definitely.
See how Grayburn pans out.
Yeah, likewise. If you guys have got anything you want us to talk about or look into, then just drop us a line, and we'll do a little thing on it.
Or if you want to come down and do an episode with us and advertise something that you're doing or something really cool that you're getting into, feel free to.
Whether you're a sports shooter, hunter, whatever, if you want to come down and sit down and have a chat with us, and come down for an evening, we'll have a coffee and sit down, nice little friendly chat, and we'll stick it out there. Feel free. It'd be the more people we can get involved, the merrier. I think we just try and sort of come together as a community as well. So yeah, absolutely. So what's happening next? I'm off to Czech Republic on Friday. So and then just to wind you up, right, and just to rub it in. And then we're off to
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Is it 7? 6?
That's my flight on my birthday.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll get the captain to make sure he sings you happy birthday. Right, we'll pay extra for that. So
back to Kentucky for a week. So it's been a good week, that one, I think.
And we've got some blasting in between. So looking forward to it. But drop us a note, guys, if you want to hear anything about what we're up to or anything like that. And looking forward to see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.